And you're live.
Live again on Wellity Real Talk. Good morning, Sadie.
Good morning, Simon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm up for it today. I'm up for it. Right, so I reached out
Where
to
are you going to start?
Well, I reached out to I've got a WhatsApp group, and on that WhatsApp group is Matt, is Tom, and is Dan, right? And we do talk about mental health, and we talk about the fact that things aren't easy for us all at the moment, and we just open that conversation. And what I said to them this morning was, give me other alternatives to an initial outreach text message when you're concerned about someone, and I put, let's have an alternative to, are you okay, mate? And how's it going? All right, two of the go-tos for that. My thinking of, are you okay, mate? Are we setting a benchmark that if you're not okay, you don't respond? And is there a way that you can close a conversation off before you even actually start it?
You're talking about gender differences, but I think you've just got to bear in mind that it's different with every individual and what's going on and how we feel that we're coping. I think the problem is saying, are you okay, is a closed question, and it makes it quite polar. Either you are or you aren't. And let's face it, our mental health is on a continuum. It fluctuates. So keeping it more open is generally more appropriate. And I would say picking up the phone, but saying to someone, can I give you a call? It'd be good to catch up and have a chat. Right now, we're seeing quite a lot of people that feel quite on the spot if somebody phones them, because we're so used to pre-arranged Zooms and everything being via WhatsApp. But just saying to someone that you want to have a chat, I think any gender, any person, that's really the way to start encouraging that conversation. But it's knowing the person that you want to engage with. It's trying to think about how best to draw that out. And it could be reflecting on previous experiences together, good memories. It could be sharing yourself to set that tone. And that's something we talk to managers quite a lot, and how to approach conversations with their staff is just by going first. And I know you're a big champion of that, but it does set the tone of that conversation. So suddenly the elephant's, not in the corner of the room, but is right in front of you both. And you can just say, I'm really struggling at the moment. Like, how are you doing? And it just letting them feel that there's that level of comfort in being vulnerable and being open about how they're really doing. And that's what I do with my friends.
When I was going through my period where I was down, right, I became very sort of self-centered. It was about me. It was about me not being good enough. It was about me not contributing. It was about me not having self-esteem or self-worth and everything else. It was very insular. It was very me. Now, if someone came to me and said, instead of saying, are you okay? And that sort of gives you another way to reflect inside yourself and come up with reasons why you're content and happy being on that lower vibration. If someone said to me, I'm struggling, or I would like to talk to you, suddenly don't you think I'm then empowered? I then have purpose. I then have a reason. I then have validation from someone actually asking me. It doesn't take a lot to jolt you out sometimes, does it? And actually the feeling of empowerment might be, I'm feeling a bit down, I'm going for a walk later, do you want to give me a touch? Should we have a talk while I'm on my walk, or something like that? Maybe suggesting a bit of getting them outside as well at the same time, we're going for a walk. But I like that sense of empowering someone else.
Yeah, and when we help somebody else, it releases the good old oxytocin hormone that, we're giving back, we're giving our time, and it, like you say, it helps us shift our perspective. But something I'm really mindful at the moment, and literally had a conversation about this with one of my friends last night, is the fact that when you're doing everything to keep yourself together and just keep going, supporting somebody else can be really difficult. And even having the headspace to genuinely have that conversation, to properly listen to them and be there and show empathy and all these things, that does take our own energy levels. So it's important to be mindful of that. And if we are going to engage in these conversations, think about timing and making sure that we're in a good headspace to do that as well, because otherwise it's really hard to do, really hard.
And is there other things like, it is hard. So I'm thinking, is a Friday or Saturday night quite a good time because someone's had a drink, maybe they open up? As we all know, it can oil the wheels sometimes. Are there any other tactics when you say timing, morning, afternoon, evening?
It varies for different people. Some people I know clam up when they drink, others straight away on their phone, and you hear everything. Yeah, exactly. But it's just comfort levels. I've got certain friends that I know will engage me more openly via text. Others it's definitely pick up the phone. Some hate Zoom, some love Zoom. It's just adapting that approach for different people and their different circumstances, and knowing if they've got kids around, if they've got children, wait until they've gone to bed, because it's unlikely they're going to open up and speak to you in front of their children. So all these different factors that you have to temper in. Same with other half, other people who might be in earshot. Going for a walk is fantastic because it gets them moving, and it just encourages that informal tone of disclosure, and it gets them out of that immediate environment where there may be other people listening in, and just takes you away from that bubble, and you get quite caught up in the four walls that you're in and quite insular from that. So drawing somebody out, getting their fresh air and just getting people thinking differently can be quite a good tactic as well.
Okay,
but
so maybe
just
saying
about
when
knowing
you're
the
out
individual.
next. Maybe saying when you're out next, give us a ring, or when you're off on your walk, give me a ring, just in case there's something they want to talk about. They want to offload about the kids or the other half or the environment they're in. Right, good point. Yeah,
just saying let's go for a walk later and let's just chat. And it's just a nice way to encourage people to get outside. I think a lot of people need that encouragement right now. I know I do. Just to get out, get moving, get walking, get out in the fresh air, and straight away that's going to help improve their well-being anyway. And then just having a chat while you're doing it.
Okay, and that's where we like our Red January, don't we? Maybe you could invite them to a social group where you're walking around. Now, we haven't got long left. We've got to try and keep this under 10 minutes because someone let us know that the attention's with us two rambling on. We're quite engrossed, but people who listen like that on social platforms like it under 10 minutes. So it's probably better for everyone listening. Are there any red flags, right? You've texted someone twice. This is like the old follow-up when you're chasing someone up for work, isn't it? I'm just following up on the email, and you just want their attention. If they're not getting back to you a couple of times on text, how do you switch it? And are there any red flags? It's very easy to ignore people nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I think trust your instinct. If you know someone and you really do feel deep down that there's a problem there and they're isolating themselves, they're withdrawing, just changes in what you'd normally expect from them that are lasting. We've all got fluctuating moods. There's days where I don't want to talk to anyone, quite frankly. I think we all have those days that we just want to retreat away in our bubble and watch Netflix. But if that's continuing and you're finding that people aren't responding, they're being quite monosyllabic, they're not picking up the phone, they're not engaging as they usually would, perhaps these gifts that you share, that you talk about in your guys group, if there's no response to those where they usually would be, and you're starting to see this pattern, just approaching it, asking directly the questions, the concerns, raising them. And people are quite apprehensive about asking quite direct questions and sounding really worried about you. You really don't seem yourself, that it's going to make someone feel scrutinized, but that means you care. It means you care enough to have noticed, you care enough to have raised it, and that says a lot. And if somebody said to me, you really didn't seem yourself when I spoke to you recently, are you okay? That really says a lot. So use those examples, those prompts to raise your concerns about their well-being. And, if you can do anything to help support them and identify that this is tough and we need to stick together, is a really strong message at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Now we need to wrap this up in a second. My last point is, can you ask too many times? People fear that if they ask and raise the question, that they're actually inciting behavior in the other person. Or when you're on the receiving end of that, is the psychology actually, I really like being asked a few times?
I think it depends how it's being received, how it's being presented. We have to bear in mind that people, we can't push people to disclose and open up, and perhaps think about, if they don't feel comfortable talking to you, what other suggestions you could make. But just making sure that there's that reassurance of that you do care, you genuinely do want to help, and there's no judgment there, and that you understand that this is a tough time and you may not be in their specific situation, but you can still be there as someone to listen, which is sometimes all we can do and all that person needs.
Okay, great. So in blokes terms, that's probably a big WhatsApp group where everyone's sending silly gifts and naughty pictures, but maybe one person hasn't been responding as much. It might be an idea just to take them aside and just send them a little note and say, look, mate, you're not involved as much as you used to. Pick up the phone. Well, we always text in. Pick up the phone and ring them. They can see your name pop up, and who knows what, it may release something else that it's quite nice being phone and seeing the name pop up.
It is these days.
It is. Right. Okay, we better wrap this up. That's our 10 minutes. If anyone else has got any suggestions on what they want us to waffle on about next time, do let us know. And thanks ever so much, Sadie, for your time. I'm sure I'll see you later in the day.
You will indeed, Simon. Take care. Have a good one.